Joining me now is Sky News host Rowan Dean. Rowan, do you know what a two-spirit person is?
I just love that exchange between them. But James, this is one of those moments where I deeply regret having dropped out of university and not having completed my arts degree, because I probably would have been able to do gender fluidity and queer studies, majoring in such things as non-binary, polyamory, two spirits. And I could have answered your question full of the knowledge that such intellectuals and academics have at their fingertips. But in case you, just so the audience are absolutely crystal clear, because we have to be very specific in our definitions here, two-spirit is not the same as pangender or polygender or non-binary or intersex or indeed gay or lesbian. Now, what defines a two-spirit person that separates them from every other rainbow character? And it is this, James. They are basically a gay Indian. And by that, I mean a First Nations person, because a two-spirit is a term specifically designed. They invented it in 1990 at a gay pride march or conference or something, to have a special category for First Nations people. Because what the left and the woke left love nothing more than anything is combining supposed victims of oppression. Because if you're a woman, you're already oppressed. If you're a gay woman, then that's a double oppression, a lesbian. If you're then a two-spirit woman, you're First Nations and you're a woman and you're gay. You've got the lot. You've won the jackpot. And these terms, if they weren't so funny, the problem is that, as we found out from that clip, they are used to finance all sorts of dubious programs. So taxpayers' dollars, as Doge discovered, were funneling all sorts of money to all these organizations, probably all around the world. I imagine there are some two-spirit organizations in Australia, specifically targeting money towards First Nations people who identify as gay or lesbian, but would prefer to be known as two spirits. And the problem here, James, is that it's basically a grift. So it's an ability, and we saw it there in that clip there. They were channeling money to a specific group because they were two spirits, and it allows them to spend more money than they would otherwise spend. And I guarantee that that money is being spent here in Australia similarly, and people should be looking out for it. But the joke was, once you try and have all these terminologies, James, it was Justin Trudeau himself who ran into all sorts of trouble when the two-spirit thing was added to the LGBTQ+, et cetera. There's a very, very funny clip of him tripping all over himself because he could remember the two, but he couldn't remember what else went with it.
That's right.
And he got into all sorts of trouble. two plus mine, and he get all of it.
I remember that. Well, Rowan, thanks for explaining. I understand now, but my head hurts. Thank God the Trump administration is having none of that. Exactly. The Trump administration is having none of this nonsense. US President Donald Trump and his Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, met with the US military's top brass yesterday and told them in no uncertain terms wokeness would not be tolerated. Have a listen.
For too long, we've promoted too many uniformed leaders for the wrong reasons, based on their race, based on gender quotas, based on historic so-called firsts. Foolish and reckless political leaders set the wrong compass heading, and we lost our way. We became the woke department, but not anymore.
And then Donald Trump had a very simple message.
We're bringing back a focus on fitness, ability, character.
Rowan, it just shows you how far the West has fallen when generals need to be told that fitness, rather than, sexual orientation, is a priority for the military.
Again, James, you would just have to ask how many people up at Duntroon in Canberra, where Russell House or Russell, whatever it's called, the headquarters of the Australian Army, are sitting there thinking, because I bet we've got more than our fair share of wokeness there. Donald Trump has renamed the Department of Defense the Department of War, but it was actually, as you said, the Department of Woke, and it's now the Department of War. And the idea how on earth this woke garbage ever crept in, it just shows you how dangerous it has been. We saw under Joe Biden, we saw all sorts of kind of diversity, equity, inclusion stuff, transgender soldiers, and ads that specifically target gay and lesbian recruits, all of which is fine, but it's irrelevant to the job of making an army. There is only one job you make an army for, and that is, as Donald Trump has pointed out, to go to war. That's why you make an army. That's not to say there aren't some brilliant transgender or gay or lesbian or even two-spirited soldiers out there, James. But the point is, when that's your focus, obviously you are not focusing on the key attribute that a soldier must have, and that's their ability and preparedness, mental fitness and preparedness to lay down their life for their country. And that is the key thing that the Trump administration are determined to bring back into the American military. Are the same discussions taking place in Duntroon? That's all I'd ask, and I bet they're not.
It's a very good question. We don't have much time left before we go to a break, but I do want to get your thoughts on Keir Starmer's speech at the UK Labour conference. It was light on policy, but big on demonising his main opponent, Reform Party leader Nigel Farage. Take a look.
When was the last time that you heard Nigel Farage say anything positive about Britain's future? He can't. He doesn't like Britain, doesn't believe in Britain, wants you to doubt it just as much as he does. So he resorts to grievance. They all do. They want to turn this country, this proud, self-reliant country, into a competition of victims, saying to you, to working people, don't trust in each other. You can't fix this. This is not a great country.
Basically, my political opponent hates you. But it got worse. Here's the Deputy Prime Minister.
Is Nigel Farage a racist?
I answered your question. I'm not going to play the man. I'm playing the ball as our leader did. I will leave it for the public to come to their own judgments about someone who once flirted with Hitler Youth when he was younger.
Rowan, just quickly, aside from being untrue, this demonising of one's political opponents, we've seen it in the US, it's incredibly dangerous.
Well, it is, and they should have learned from Hillary Clinton that the moment you start telling your opponent's supporters that they're deplorables, a basket of deplorables, Joe Biden made the same mistake. It's basically a guarantee that you're not going to win the next election because the public aren't that stupid. They won't put up with it. And shame on Keir Starmer, seriously, and the other bloke, David Lammy. Nigel Farage only needs to say one positive thing, James, and that's the fact that he's going to be the next Prime Minister of Great Britain.
Indeed. Rowan Dean, always a delight to talk to you. Thanks so much for coming on the program tonight.